Peace, peace. This your host, Selah Shalom. And I'm here with brother Ameen Bey. We back again for round 2. Part 2, breaking down his affairs with Minister Enqi. He's going to continue from part 1. And the first question, brother, explain to them the relations you had with Enqi and what is plasma water?
Peace, fam. We're doing part 2. I'm not on the road, so hopefully y'all can hear me a lot better because there's a lot of things I want to make clear. So thanks for having me on again to properly answer your question. The plasma water thing has been talked about as a product that we've been trying to put out working with this brother. But in actuality, plasma water is a science that we were trying to put and turn into a product. So to break it down right quick on a scientific level of what constitutes plasma water or any type of plasma property, we'll call you, putting it into water, it has to have certain properties. So you want to make sure that the water, first of all, is coherent. You know what I mean? So that goes into just the ability of the water able to retain its properties under duress, like exposure to sunlight, pressure, adverse elements, and we want to try to get it to a point to where it's blocking out these things so that it's still available. It still has its availabilities in these instances. The next thing you want to make sure the water has, you want it to have some type of ionized properties, meaning that it has lots of electricity, hydrogen ions in the water. Once you got those two, then you can go into it being buffered, and that is the ability of the water to maintain its pH as a result of its crystalline state. And that can be achieved through different methods like paramagnetic introduction to light and sound and stuff like that. If you're into deep science like that. And then one of the main things that it has to have is bioavailability of biocarbonates. And this is where Enqi came in with his products, the so-called products, his 4-pack, because on trying to create this product, supposedly he had these minerals, which would have, go into the whole science, the whole formula of creating this product. So as far as bicarbonate goes, you want to have fulvic acids. The water has to be structured in a high state so that it absorbs these minerals, and then these minerals are utilized by the body using carbon compounds. So there's a little more into it, but that's just a brief scientific breakdown of what constitutes plasma water. Cool. Now, after testing his product, realizing that he didn't bring to the table what he said he had, which was these minerals, that kind of changed the whole dynamics of what we was trying to do.
So let me interject for a second. Let me interject. So after you told him that the water didn't come back as you all thought, what was his response to that?
There was no response. He read the message, and on Facebook, now they got that thing where you can see if someone read the message or whatever. He read the message and he didn't respond. He didn't say anything. He just deleted me from a group, the 40 Day Food Fast, blocked me from it. And anywhere on social media, like I said, that I could speak on what was going on, which wasn't my intent.
So y'all never had a chance to. So y'all never had a chance to clarify. So you never had a chance to really talk to him about the matter, like phone to phone, face to face, in a sense. Nah, he didn't want to. Understood. So.
Because
now go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
There's no way you're creating a product and not know what your product is about. And anybody that's really into creating something, when it comes to like a product, especially if you're a health guru or a scientist, you're gonna have an intimate relationship with your product. So if I came to you and I said, "Hey, brother, so you sold me this tonic," you're probably going to take offense to it, or you're going to defend your baby, your creation. You know what I mean? So when I told him the stuff was tested and it wasn't what he said it was, and it didn't contain the things he said were in there, I expected him to have something to say, like talk to me about it.
Right.
But he didn't. So I felt like he knew that he had some type of fake snake oil type product that he was trying to push, because he ran away when I came to him in secret and told him, look, man, the reason why I'm not pushing this water anymore like I was, but trying to get it out in the public like I was, is because it's not safe to drink. You know what I'm saying? High levels of calcium is not safe for public consumption.
Right.
And that stuff will give you kidney stones. And instead of what we wanted to do is create a product that had healing properties for people, not the opposite.
Right.
So
now,
what?
Okay, great. So, what is this thing about you being an agent? Is that because of what you brought forth, and he didn't like what you brought forth, so now you're an agent? Because a lot of times when we have disagreements in the community, we'll just start accusing each other as being agents based off the disagreement. So what's that about?
That's very funny, and I'm glad you asked that question, because every time I hear that word, the way it's being used and going around in the community is not the actual definition of the word. Someone actually asked me that after listening to some of this brother's videos, and my question to him was, what is an agent? And he tried to give a definition of it, but that wasn't the definition of it. If we go off of Webster's dictionary version of the definition of agent, because we're using a language we don't fully understand, agent has a lot of meanings. It could mean one that acts or exerts power. It could mean something that produces or is capable of producing an effect, an active or an effective cause in a chemical, physical, biological, active principle, or it can simply mean an instrument by which a guided intelligence achieves a result. It can mean a lot of things. An agent can also be someone that represents an actor, an athlete, or an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? So the word agent has a lot of meanings, but the context that they're throwing it out as is, I think what they're trying to say is an agent provocateur or a secret agent, which has different meanings. Now, an agent provocateur would be somebody that pretty much comes along and try to get you to do illegal acts and then expose you. But to those that know the history of me and this brother, I didn't come to him. He came to me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And as I said in part one, when those brothers came and took out El Hajj, aka Malcolm X, nobody knew those four brothers were agents until they struck. So if I was an agent, I wouldn't be here going on Facebook, Instagram, doing all this back and forth petty stuff with this dude. I would have decapitated his whole movement if that was my purpose.
Now, what's this? True indeed. No, indeed. Now, what is this about the military testing that you wanted me to address about the water?
Oh, because in his videos, he was saying that the military had interest in the water, and the military tested his water, and that he declined meetings from military superiors for whatever reasons. You know, people need to understand that, first and foremost, where are the facts, where are the proof to all these things that he's talking about? You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have any. So, enqi, being very versed in psychology to a certain degree, you know, plays with words, plays with context. You know what I'm saying? To the point to where people just believe. And we got to keep in mind that belief is not backed by anything factual. So the whole thing with where the military came into conversation is, he was asking me if I think military people would be interested in buying water, because the company Monster makes a lot of money off of law enforcement personnel, government personnel, military personnel, because they drink it for, I guess, staying awake or energy or whatever the case is. So he was talking about the water being a popular brand in these type of work environments as Monster was. So when he asked me if I knew how to, those proper channels, how to get it introduced to those type of communities, I told him I don't know, but I'll look into it. A lot of times soldiers will get out of the military and they'll create something that they thought about while they were in the military, and they will sell it to the military. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I said with that aspect, the military might be interested in something if you have something good. So when I did my research, I told him he would have to probably go to the proper places, proper personnel or whatever, and he probably have to give a lecture or a demonstration of his product. And if they felt that it was something that is good, then they would probably be willing to talk to him about, helping develop it. But this is with anyone. You could go to somebody with money. You would have to do the same thing. So the military had nothing to do with the water. You know what I'm saying? The military never talked to this guy. They never talked to me. And no conversations in the military, none. It's irrelevant. And he's just throwing these things out there to try to get himself some relevance, saying the military interested in the water. That's a fat lie. The military didn't test the water. The water was tested at a food lab in North Carolina, not the military.
Interesting. Okay. So what is the code of ethics? Another thing you got listed here. What is that about?
Well, code of ethics pertains to us in the community. We got to operate on some type of law, and the reason why I said code of ethics, I'm referring more of universal and divine laws. If you want to go back into stuff as far as Ma'at, we need to operate with each other on some type of principle. So with that being said, there's a certain way that you got to carry yourself, and there's a certain way you got to go about doing business. We're out here in the community with a lot of potential to do a lot of great things, and the world is looking at us. You know what I'm saying? But within ourselves and within these communities, we have this catalyst mindset to where we're just being savage with each other. Selling drugs in our communities, like doing stuff that's hurting the community. You know what I mean? So if we're trying to make it and do something great, we gotta have proper ethics, man, because we're trying to get to the point to where we're making the type of effect on a corporate level. And if we're starting to produce stuff on a corporate level, then we're producing income on a corporate level to where we can use that income and build schools, hospitals, dynasties, whatever may have you. But if we're just here operating on nothing but pure savagery, we'll never make it as a community. So, just to touch on what exactly I meant by that, we gotta have something that we're working on.
What about
operating on?
True indeed. Now you have here setting the standards. Now going on that.
Yeah, like I said, kind of ties into what I just said. We gotta set the standards because the world is looking at us.
Right.
And they don't expect us to do a lot of things or capable of a lot of things based on what is broadcast about us here in this country.
Right.
So, in the eyes of the world, they expect us to be savages all day, every day, and anything that we do. Even though we show them in a lot of ways that we dominate a lot of things, in a kind of way, they really don't expect us to be professional businessmen.
Right.
Building great companies and just having unity in our community. So this is something that we got to be mindful of instead of ripping and robbing each other. We got to keep in mind that the world is watching all this stuff.
True indeed. You know true indeed.
So we got to do better.
All right, cool. So, coming back to your business with enqi, it says here was you the chief financial advisor, or what is that about?
Yeah, he gave me this fake title of being a CFO, chief financial advisor of the water thing we was doing. And you know, anyone that has a business or familiar with the business world, when you're chief financial advisor of an organization, you have a lot of responsibilities, a lot, you know, more than a CEO. So one of the taskings that you have is, you know, you got to make sure that contracts, documents, that they're ratified, they check out products as well. If your company is moving a product, you got to make sure that the product is also verified. You know what I'm saying? That your company is actually reputable to the product that you're producing. So the issue we have here right now is I took the job way too seriously, and I did a really good job of being a CFO, because when I looked into the documents that he was sending out to have investors sign, they were fake. You know, there was stuff that he pulled off the internet, did a little copy and pasting and tried to make it into his own document. But obviously he rushed it because he missed a lot of things that investors were starting to call and email and point out, like, what's up with this, what's up with that. And every time someone pointed something out that he didn't apparently see in these paperwork, in these contracts, he got offended. So when I started looking deeper into it, I realized that these contracts were fake and they were made up. The tax ID he sent the investors were fake, they were made up. And then going into the product now, looking into the product and having it tested, that was also fake and made up. So these are taskings that you do as a CFO. So if me doing my job as a CFO makes me an agent, because I wanted to make sure that legally, lawfully, we're compliant to rules and regulations and stuff like that, so nobody gets in any legal trouble, then you be the judge. You know, the people listening to this, do the math, because that's really all I did.
Right.
And when I came to my findings, I didn't put it out. I didn't broadcast it. I had my findings for over 7 months, and I told him all this in private. All he had to do was correct the stuff I brought to him, and nobody would have known anything.
Right.
Could have continued doing business and came and develop a really great product. Instead, I guess he felt like, oh man, I got caught. This brother might expose me. Let me silence him. You know, let me launch a slander campaign to discredit him. And that's what he did.
Interesting. Interesting. So what is the alpha male attitude here that you got listed?
I said that because listening to this brother and seeing, you know, a lot of other people he's had issues with, it led me to realize that enqi hasn't had a lot of encounters with alpha males, and until he ran into myself, possibly others that probably wasn't public, but he doesn't know how to operate and deal with alpha male. So now that he is in the midst of one, he's doing all this feminine type stuff to where he's out gossiping, doing all this social media slandering, stuff like that. And all he had to do was pick up the phone and call me to talk about the stuff I presented to him. Right. So he's used to steamrolling people. And when I say steamrolling people, everyone taking what he says and does for face value, no one actually being critical and questioning him and thinking about stuff that he has presented. So now that I've done that, you know what I'm saying, he got scared and felt threatened. So if you're going to be out here as a leader, you got to have an alpha male complex. You got to know how to operate and move with other alpha males. You know what I'm saying? Because this stuff is bigger than him. is bigger than me. This is for the community.
Right.
And you're going to always run into alpha males. So you got to know how to work with, by, and around other alpha males. And apparently that's not something that he is capable of doing. Like I said, let's look at the facts. Because this brother is making a lot of claims, but he's not providing any evidence, he's not providing any facts. So he's telling people that we have a group and we're regurgitating his information and just nothing productive happening. Well, the group that we started, the solar community discussion group that we have, that he wouldn't put out there because he doesn't want people to run over there, because we're actually doing great things over there. You know what I'm saying? So when I say his team, I'm going to start from him. And I don't want people to say that it's petty and I'm being personal, but it is what it is. You know, if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. So as far as him, if you're supposed to be this health coach, teacher, guru, whatever he calls himself, healer, you know, you got to heal yourself first.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And this brother has a lot of issues. He has a lot of dysfunction that he's not addressing. You know, that he's sitting here trying to hide, but they're very evident. You know, when I first met this dude, I noticed that he had a mouth full of rotten teeth. And I asked myself, half this dude's mouth is full of rotten teeth, and he's supposed to be a healer. Why he hasn't fixed his teeth? Why he hasn't fixed his mouth? You know what I'm saying? It's just like if I'm sitting here saying to y'all in part one, I'm a trainer, and then you come to me to be your personal trainer, and I'm in the gym, and I'm like, I don't even look like a trainer physically. Or I get in there and I don't even know what I'm doing. You know, you're going to question what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Right.
So just looking at him and, you know, just certain physical things that stand out on his body, like his feet and his mouth, because his feet is very, very nasty with fungus and stuff all on his nails and shit. You know, you got to start from yourself. And this brother has issues that he hasn't even cured or healed. So that was questionable to me. You get what I'm saying? Dr. Sebi is an old man. I think he's probably 80-something years old. And Dr. Sebi just had a child. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when he's out here putting himself in the same caliber of Dr. Africa, Dr. Sebi and these guys, he's nowhere close to any of them. These guys, their work has been solidified in court and other places. They have facts, they have documents, they have things to prove that their products work or their methods work. You know, he doesn't have any, and a lot of people are going off of his oratorical posture and being charismatic, and they're taking his word for face value. And I'm just trying to get people to think and stop following and believing and to think. Now, his team, you know, the brother Diallo, his right-hand man, this dude is a fat boy. He is fat and doesn't even, these are brothers that are been rocking with him from day one when he came up with this 40-day fruit fasting that doesn't work. And if this brother's been doing this 40-day fruit fast for 6 years, there's no way he should be fat and look the way he looks right now presently. And I'm not even going to go into everybody on his team, but I'm just giving you an example. You know, you're giving people science and math and all this knowledge and information that you and your team are not even utilizing. Because if they did, this brother wouldn't have a mouthful of rotten teeth, and this right-hand man wouldn't be this fat obese dude. Now, I'm not taking any shots, but these are facts. Now, me, for example, if I tell you, I'm telling you I'm a trainer, you can look at me and tell that I fit the physical attributes to that to a certain degree. And then when I take you to the gym and I'm giving you your diet plans, or I'm giving you your the fitness plan, you can see that it's working, because when you actually put it into application, things are happening. You know, we have a sister that came to our group. She's only been there 30 days. And she's lost over 30 pounds. You know what I mean? And this is just on science that we've been pushing to the people in the group that we're in. So let's get the facts and put them on the table and have the people do the math, because a lot of things are not being put into the proper context. And people are not really looking into things. They're just believing and following. You know what I mean? So we need to start knowing and start asking questions like, yo, can you provide proof? Because I can provide proof all day to everything I'm saying.
So let me ask you this, King. Being that you are a trainer, what is some of the dietary recommendations you give to people who are under your training?
Well, most people have different goals. Some people come through and they want to lose weight, they want to gain weight, they want to tone, they want to do all of this crazy stuff because there's so many different fads out there.
Right.
So we started, myself and Dextrell that came up with this group, we was looking into something that we call the life cycle. And what we've learned is a lot of people that are doing these fasts, they're not doing them properly. So I always ask a person to tell me what they're eating, what their diet consists of, and then I can weed out, you know, what's affecting them or what's inhibiting them from achieving their goal. A lot of people are consuming lots of nutrient blockers, you know what I mean? And that's like a main issue that they have, because they're not properly absorbing any minerals at all. So it's really hard for them to get the desired effect that they're trying to achieve, because a lot of the stuff that they're consuming has ingredients like palladium in it, which is a nutrient blocker, and it's in pretty much everything. It's even in the multivitamins. If you went to the store and you looked in the back of a lot of the multivitamins, it has palladium in it, and it also has molybdenum in there as well, and that's MOLYBDENUM, and that's another main nutrient blocker. So I started from a diet perspective, and then I go into recommending them to eat certain things to either correct what misalignment they have, as well as what's causing them to not properly absorb food. And we just have simple vegan type meals that we recommend to people. But the main thing is, when a lot of people are doing these fasts, we always tell them that you have to prep the body. And you prep the body by flushing the body first, getting it ready. And we do that with a pink salt flush. And that preps the body, that gets the stomach, the walls, and everything ready for absorption. But it's a cycle, and we call it a life cycle. And once you start that, and once you start doing your fast and you start getting your cortisol levels up, that pushes out a lot of inflammation. So once you do the cycle and you're done, your body's ready, you can start slowly getting back into eating vegetables, dark leafy greens, and fruits, and you will get the proper mineral nutrient absorption from these things that you weren't getting before. And this is what people are doing, and that's why they're getting these changes in months versus 6 years of doing a fake food fast, which depletes your cortisol levels and also robs your body of a lot of things and jacks up your metabolism. So there's actually a lot of people leaving his group and coming to me to correct these issues with their metabolism or not producing enzymes anymore because they didn't jack themselves up on this fast. You know, so as far as his team, man, that's pretty much what I was getting at is let's put things in a proper perspective, and you can see how someone that knows what they're doing is getting results from someone that just is just saying something and not getting any results.
Right, true indeed. So here you have on here, you says using gifts and talents for wrong reasons.
Indeed. As I stated earlier, you know, the brother has a slight gift as far as the way he uses psychology. And that's a gift because to a lot of people, it's something they learn. To others, it comes naturally. And a lot of people are in love with enqi's character because of that. because he is charismatic. But at the same time, enqi is a hustler. So he uses that gift to hustle. But he cloaks it in being charismatic, talking niggerish, dressing niggerish, to try to identify to the people that he should be uplifting, raising their vibrations, and helping them to become better individuals. And this stuff is seen very, very, very frequent in a lot of the communities. You know what I mean? So the sad thing is, brothers that have these gifts and these talents, they rely on the gullibility of people who are pretty much scientific illiterate, you know, and they're just enthralled by that individual's charisma or their posture, and they take all this pseudo code and they prey on the people. And this spreads not just in a conscious community. This goes like into churches. This is everywhere. And knowing that this brother has some kind of gift and he uses it the way he does, it's a travesty. It's wrong. So he should be using it, like I said, to be changing people's minds, raising their vibrations. Because at the end of the day, brother, this is what it's all about. You know, you can run 50 miles a week, have the best diet. You can do all this stuff, man. Eat all organic, follow all these trends. But if you're not elevating your mind, if you're not building your mind, then everything you're doing is a waste, because we know that everything starts from a thought. And if you can't control your thoughts to where you're thinking positive, productive thoughts, you know, you're killing your body, you're killing yourself, because your cells are going to produce the necessary hormones to regulate the body based on your thoughts. You know, and we know that stress is very detrimental to the body, and that's a mind thing. So a diet, none of these diets, none of these regimens matter if you're not in the right positive state of mind.
Interesting.
I just wanted to make sure that in this part two, that I was able to explain certain things, as far as some people said the audio wasn't that clear, so they didn't hear certain things clearly. And I just wanted to address some of the things that you were talking about.
What about his lectures? I heard you said something about his lectures.
Well, I've only been to one of his lectures, and that's where I met him. I mean, he tells people I met him on Facebook, but I never met him on Facebook. I met him when he came to Charlotte the first time, and that's where we met and talked and, you know, developed the little relationship that we had from there. But I was just part of a conversation where he was trying to set up a lecture to where he was lowering people in to a location that didn't have proper cooling methods, fans and AC or whatever. And the plan was to do the lecture there, do a lecture or speak on water, and then bring water there to sell, being that it would be hot. People would already be, a seed for water would already be planted. So when they see the water there, you know, subconsciously they will be like, I want to buy some water.
Right.
So seeing that and listening to him orchestrate it, you know, I'm like, wow. You know, it's one thing to try to make some money at an event, but to strategically plan it like that, to where you're just trying to get money, and the people are just pretty much being used as bait, then I wasn't cool with that. So there's a lot of other things I want to touch on. A few videos that he spoke about before, he was telling the community that the white man is the devil. And now he's saying the white man is not the devil, but more specifically, not the ones that he's making money with. So there's a lot of contradiction and a lot of things that's being put out that his brother's saying to people. And it's just sad that no one is actually checking him on it, and verifying his information. You know, I'm glad that you actually took the time to listen to what I had to say, because I reach out to other people that's around him, other guys in the conscious community, to tell him to check him. You know what I mean? And it seems like, and I hate to say it, but it seems like no one wants to get involved. No one really cares. Or no one wants to risk messing up what they're doing, their hustle. And it's sad. So just by you reaching out and doing this with me, you know, it speaks volumes on who you are. Like, a lot of guys say they're for the community, and they try to help the people. But just from my brief experience and reaching out to some of these people, and they really didn't want to touch this enqi subject. You know, one can only wonder why, if you're for the people every day, all day in front of the camera. So, another thing I wanted to touch on was the whole vegan mafia movement.
Okay.
For those that don't know, this is something that this brother speaks on a lot. And the brother is not a vegan. Right? Behind the camera, the man eats meat, drinks alcohol, and smokes. You know what I mean? He was even caught buying Viagra at the local gas station when they were down there in Texas. And he's on the video lying on his brother, saying that his brother's at retreat was going through his clothes and his trash can and all this stuff. And it's all lies. You know what I mean? He's trying to discredit his brother because he knows that his brother knows, and I know, that he was buying Viagra from the local gas station. Nobody went through his past to find anything. He was with him when he bought the shit. But he's out here lying, saying the brother works with me, and the brother was reporting to me, he was dipping out. The brother was dipping out because he had other business in the area. You know what I mean? He didn't want to stay there and be around other couples. He had his own business in the area. That's what he was dipping out to. It had nothing to do with him being fat and wanting food. You know what I'm saying? The man had his peoples in the area that he was chilling with as well. So it's just kind of distasteful to sit here and listen to. I didn't even listen to all four. I only listened to part 2 and half of it, of that video he just put out, because I already see his game, you know, and he's out here saying people are sending death threats, people are threatening his family. All these lies, man, trying to become this victim so people feel sorry for him. But honestly, nobody's after this man. The government, the military, myself, like, nobody's after this man in the context that he's sitting here telling the public. If somebody's sending his death threats, then it's probably one of the hundreds of people that he's robbed of their money, their hard-earned money, that they're probably trying to get at him for. Because a few times I was out with him, you know, there's been instances where people have said to him about not receiving their product, or him pretty much taking their money and not giving them his services. So, you know, we can't feed into, you know, these lies with no facts. You know what I mean? People got to start thinking and ask questions. Like, if I was after this guy, if I was an agent, like, he would have been a done deal a long time ago. If the military was after this guy, he would have been a done deal a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's putting himself in categories with other great healers, Dr. Sebi and all these people, and he's not even doing half the stuff that these guys are doing. You know what I mean? So I wish that he would just stop playing with the people's minds and emotions and their money and just be straight up, man. Talking about we stole his intellectual property. He didn't have no intellectual property. You cannot say that science is your intellectual property, because what we were working with him was pure science. Mm-hmm. That doesn't belong to him. That's nature. Mm-hmm. You know, it wasn't his idea. It was a collective where he was just going to bring his products to the table. So he needs to stop telling lies, man, and deal with his dysfunctions, because the brother needs help. And if anything, he should have just took my advice, because I advised him to fall back with the water And he should have just took my advice. And I hope from this whole thing that he realized that there are some people out there that will question what you're doing, that will look into what you're doing. And I hope that this is a lesson for him, that he starts to do things the right way, that he doesn't cut corners, that he actually does what he's doing the right way. Because I hear a lot of people saying he's done some great work, he's helped a lot of people, but I don't see none of these as being provided. No one has provided any solid facts. I haven't seen or heard any solid facts, you know. So if he is, he is. What I can say is he's good at collecting information, you know, but let's not get it twisted. He's not bringing anything to the community or to the public that's not out there to grab on your own. It ain't like he's coming with new scientific data, new health information that it's not out there for me or you to just get on our smartphones or computers and grab. You know what I mean? It's like he takes other people's information, makes it into a PDF, puts it in a book, and says he wrote a book. That's not how it goes, man. And it's not his information. So if you take some of the information that he comes out with and you understand the language, then you could possibly do some things with that on your own. But you can't give credit to him. You got to give credit to yourself. So I don't know how much time we have, but, you know, that's just some of the topics I want to go in on. If there's anything else. Oh, I got one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
About him refunding this brother in California his money. Now, the truth to that is, this brother was a top investor in this whole water. And he wanted to know what was going on with the water thing, with his money, because it's been over 7 months. And no word, no documents, no certificates, nothing that you should provide an investor based off of law was presented to none of these investors. So this guy, you know, like I said, he put out some money up. He wanted to know what's going on. So he reached out to enqi via text, via voice, Facebook, Instagram. And enqi pretty much played with this man. You know what I'm saying? Gave him numbers to call that's not working. Telling him, having him jump through all these hoops when all he had to do was say, look, this is what the deal is, or whatever the case is. So he took the dude's information, and then he blocked him from contacting him on all these different forums. So what actually happened was, and if anybody was at that lecture in Seattle, he was served legal documents. He was served a cease and desist letter on this whole plasma thing. So I'm going to play a clip for you right quick so you can hear it out of his own mouth, what really happened. 1 second. Alright, so this is him telling the public in part 2 of his 4-part video that the water is going to die. And he's falling back from it for whatever reason. I'm going to play it right now. The plasma plus is effectively going to die. Alright. This is what he's telling people, but to people that don't know or in the know, it's going to die, and he's falling back because he got served a legal cease and desist letter while he was at his lecture in Seattle last weekend. So if you was at the lecture in Seattle last weekend, you know what I'm talking about, because they served him there at his lecture. That's why the water's going to die, because he got that letter. Now, another thing I want to play is a video he did back in June when I had got the lab results back, and I fell back on the whole water thing. So this is back in June 9th. And listen to what he's saying. But don't think that I'm not listening. Okay, Brother Ameem is in active duty, so that's why we slowed down just a touch with the water. He's our CFO, and we're sticking behind him. All right. So these are the games he plays with the communities now. Here is his video he made back in June, telling people that I'm away on active duty. But then weeks later, a few weeks ago, he's out here on social media telling people I'm an agent. He didn't know I was in the military or working with the military, whatever the case is, whatever he said. But he put it out here in his video 7-8 months ago. So I didn't come to this brother. He approached me, and I was trying to help him take his shit to higher heights with my resources. So how can you sit here and talk about I'm your CFO and you're riding with me, and then when I come to you and tell you, look, we got an issue here, then you throw me out there to the public saying I'm an agent? You feel me? So that's what I mean by people don't ask the proper questions. They just believe anything that comes out of this man's mouth. So I just gave you 2 of many examples out of his own mouth how he contradicts himself. So one minute, you know, what I'm doing, the next minute he's denying it. And then you're telling the people where you're falling back on the water and that you refunded this guy his money. They only refunded this guy his money when Diallo got served a letter as well. You know what I'm saying? Even when he got served a letter, he was still trying to deny any involvement in the project. And the brother had to say, look, either comply to the deadline, have my money back by this date, or follow-up letters are going to be sent to other places, your place of business, your wife's business, because I don't even know if his wife knows what's going on. But she's a very respectable woman in the community, and I don't think she needs these problems. So once the brother told him this is the next step, the next day, Diallo, not enqi, Diallo refunded the guy his $1,000. Not enqi. You know what I mean? Enqi told him, and I can show this in the conversation, enqi and Diallo both told him that they ain't got no money, that the water is sitting in storage, and in order for them to give people refunds, they got to sell the water. There's no water sitting in storage anywhere that enqi has access to. And being that he's falling back on the water project, on the water thing, if he comes out with something else, it's probably going to be some bullshit because he doesn't have access to the water at all. So he's going to come up with probably some more bullshit and try to push it to the people. But I highly encourage y'all to make sure that it's properly labeled and make sure that he has some type of medical trial studies, some type of lab testing on whatever product it is. And they should be pushing for this on all his products because none of his products tell you the ingredients, the mineral content, or anything. So people are just blindly taking things from this guy that they don't even know what it is. So I think that's really all I want to elaborate on. But if, like I said, there's anything else you want me to be more specific about or go in some more on, I'll be more than glad to go in on it. But just on the top of my mind, these are the things that I felt people needed to hear the truth because there's 2 sides. And he's just out here telling a lot of lies to the community. And people need to know exactly what's going on. And so people need to really be careful. And like I said, just ask proper questions and have proof in everything that brother's saying because not everything he says is what it is, you know. And that's another reason why I fell back because just looking into the whole water thing, it made me realize that in the life test, the shit wasn't legit, so I started asking myself, well, damn, what else is not legit that might not be legit about this dude? So kind of find out, you know, this 40-day fruit fast business, company, whatever you want to call it, that he has. And keep in mind, you know, he's sending people legal documents to sign with these companies on it, you know what I mean? But then if you go to the Department of State, the divisions of corporations, where you got to go to have your business and shit registered, this brother, if you do it right right now on your own, you will not pull up a 40-day food fast on there. If you go to Georgia Division of Corporations that he has in other documents, you will not pull up no 40-day food fast on there either. You know what I mean? Take it another step further, go to Ohio. You won't find no 40-day food fast in Ohio, right? So these are places that he has listed in fake contracts saying that this company has been registered and whatever. But when you actually go to the portal, the proper channels to look at this stuff, it doesn't exist. So now, going into, what else do we have? Amber Institute. If you look at the Division of Corporations of Delaware now, and this is public information, anybody can look this up. There's no Amber Institute that exists or that is registered in the state of Delaware at all. You can look it up, pull it up, go on the website, and you'll see. So just finding all this out, you know what I'm saying, it shows you that this brother's operating illegally, doing business. And you'll be a fool to do business with this guy, exchange fiat or funds or whatever with this man, when he is operating illegally and frauding the people, frauding the government out of money. You know what I mean? So this is why I see that he has to cut a lot of corners and do a lot of shady shit, because a lot of things that require being done has to be done a certain way, and I don't think he has the time, the resources to do things properly. So, of course, he's going to do it, you know, the worst way, which is, you know, hustling everything and making everything a quick hustle, a quick sale, whatever the case is. So that's another reason why I felt that, because I didn't want to get caught up in this type of bullshit. You know, I came aboard to help the man do some things better, and I found out some things that I wasn't expecting to find out. So I'm not even giving a lot of the information. I'm going to save that for maybe part 3 or part 4 if we get that far. But, you know, just keep this in mind. If you're one of those people out there exchanging funds with this guy doing money, just know that, you know, somebody's watching. You know what I mean? So when he goes down, you're probably going to go down with him. So keep that in mind. So as far as, like, me running away with money and all that stuff that he's telling people, everybody that ever bought any product from him that invested in the water, you know that I asked you for a screenshot of your transaction via PayPal to send it to him, because even though I was named the CFO, I had no access to any finances that revolved in and around this guy. So the address that everybody even sending funds to is not mine. It's his. You know, that what's it, Japa12 at AOL.com? That's his information. You know, he accessed the funds, and that's his whole thing. But when you look up when you look at that email, it comes up to some dude named Jason Atcher. And if you listen to a lot of his lectures, he spoke of this Jason dude before. But he told y'all that this is a white dude. You know what I'm saying? But when you look it up, this is a brother. This is someone that I believe he stole that person's identity and created a PayPal account. Because every time someone tries to contact his Jason character, nothing comes back from it. And when you look at his Facebook page is not consistent. You know, it's sporadic. A post this month, then a post 2 months later. So it looks like one of those fake pages, man. And if you're on Facebook and you're one of those people that get fake friends requests, you know what I'm talking about. So again, me being CFO, I coordinated logistics, I verified documents, and I verified and ratified products. I ain't got no one's money. Go to Diallo, Morgan, and go to Antoine Duquesne, a.k.a. Minister Enqi, and get your refund if you have any of his products. If you don't believe nothing I'm saying to you on this video, feel free to visit your local food lab and get the product that you have tested, and you'll see for yourself. So far he's been giving refunds. If you're one of the unfortunate people that's been robbed or lied to or swindled by his shenanigans, then hit him up. Hit up Diallo. Diallo's giving refunds to people. And you might be one of the lucky ones to get yours in an overnight expedited process like you did with that brother in California. Hopefully you don't have to go through the legal channels to do it. So again, for you guys refunds, everybody that knows how his business works knows that his PayPal transactions go through that chapter12@AOL.com. So you can look up Jason by that email. You'll see who he is. You'll see he's not a white guy, like he told the public. And shit, probably contact him and you'll see what I'm saying. So with that being said, do the math and you will see on your own.
True indeed, makes sense. And there's definitely always two sides to a story when you're doing business. And it's good to be clear on what's going on both sides. Because when you're dealing with health, you're definitely putting your trust in somebody else's hands. So we gotta definitely be clear on who we dealing with. And you definitely said a handful. So, you know, we'll just close it out with that. And then, you know, if we want to do a part 3, you just hit me up later. We could talk about it. But until then, this is Selah Shalom with Ameen Bey, and we signing out. Peace.
Peace.